Well. Good lunchtime, West Ham fans. Good afternoon. So, let's talk about the old Bunsen burner from the Europa League, shall we? So, welcome. Happy lunchtime. Hope your day is going well. Mine's not going too bad. The weather is. Yesterday was apparently the first day of astronomical spring, whatever the bollocks that means, but it was a beautiful day yesterday. Didn't wear my coat at all the whole day. Very clement weather. And it's not bad. It's looking quite rosy in the old coffers for the West Ham group. Apparently, according to several sources, we've enjoyed obviously great success over Europe in the last few years. And our current Europa League campaign has proven to be very rewarding indeed. Obviously, we play Bayer Leverkusen next month in a mouth-watering prospect for West Ham fans. You know, if we do get past the unbeaten Bundesliga leading side, there will be an all-Italian potential, whether it is AC Milan or Roma in the semi-finals, which would be amazing. But, you know, win or lose, we'll still be on the booze, but we'll be reaping the rewards of a very successful European campaign in terms of reaching the last eight. Now, you know, we know what's coming in terms of the Bundesliga side, in terms of Bayer Leverkusen, but we're raking it in terms of the continent, in terms of our exploits in Europe, and it's proved to be very handsome indeed, which would also help avoid flouting the very strict new PSR rules and regulations. We've seen Nottingham Forest have a 4-point deduction. Everton's had already had a 10-point deduction, reduced to 6 points, potentially even more for Everton with the current round of regulations. We believe also that Chelsea are in a lot of trouble. We know they're in a lot of trouble anyway, but based on the selling of Mason Mount this year, unless they sell a fair whack of people, particularly homegrown talent, where there's no sort of income fee coming in, so to speak, it's going to be quite a rough ride for them next season. And so we've got to keep an eye on that. Now, Kieran Maguire's spoken about West Ham in terms of how we would be affected by this, by the new PSR rulings that are coming in. He was quoted as saying, as far as the new rules are concerned for West Ham, I don't think it will make any significant amount of difference. And the reason why I say that is that the owners weren't particularly keen on taking the club close to the limit because they wanted to try and run it in a more sustainable manner. Being in Europe meant we had to stay in line with UEFA's ruling, which is different to the Premier League ruling. UEFA's ruling is very much based on profit and percentages in terms of spend, and that's basically the Premier League is coming more in line to that, which makes perfect sense. So actually us being in Europe has helped us out a little bit. According to Kieran Maguire's calculations and projections, we wouldn't be in a fantastic position, but they're very crude in terms of the calculations, and looking at historic data, and he's made a few assumptions, but I think actually the club might have more wiggle room. What I was trying to get was a general flavour for who are like to be the winners and losers as the new rules are concerned, and West Ham this season are in the Europa League, so have got the benefit of extra money coming in, and also the sale of Declan Rice. That will come into the calculations. Also, what will come into the calculations is actually winning the Europa Conference League as well, because that would have been post the 31st of May last year. So that's how that works. That comes into this year's. But what did we bring? What have we brought into the old coffers from the Europa League? Well, according to Sean Wheatson, he's done some calculations, and he reckons we've already pocketed at least £13.5 million worth of prize money out of the reaching the quarterfinals so far. 3.17 million for the group stages, 5 group wins, each 550k a win, so that's 2.750 185. We won the group stages, so we get another 960. It was £1 million for winning the group stages. Going into the last 16, we get a 1.04 million, and then getting into the quarterfinals already, we're on 1.56 million. So in terms of just our prize money, so to speak, it's about 9.5 million quid. Plus we've got the coefficient bonus as well, which is around 2.4 million, and then we've got the TV market pool as well in terms of our percentages of that, which is about 1.8 million pounds. So that's about 13.5 million quid. And then we've got the extra revenue on the ticket sales. Between, it looked like across all of our Europa League exploits, it's between about 40 to 55,000 in terms of our attendances for the home games. It's pretty obvious we're going to sell out for the quarterfinal second leg. Reaching the semi-finals will get us another 2.5 million quid, and then if we get to the final, another almost 4 million quid, and then the winners will earn a further 3.5 million quid, and also a place in the Champions League. So then you've got all the guaranteed league money, because it's not group stages next year. We go into that big league which I spoke about the other day, which is clear as mud, the 36 league team league. So there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money there, which is great, and that will obviously help towards PSR in terms of profit. So in terms of percentage that we can spend of our profit, in terms of income, in terms of the percentages of our wage bill and stuff like that. Obviously things like the development of the academy, women's football, stadium improvements, things like that aren't included. So, yeah, we are in a relatively decent position. We're not allowed to, clubs aren't allowed to amass more than £105 million of losses over a 3-year season. And that's where the likes of Everton and Forest, because Forest have only been in the seat for 2 years, so theirs got reduced to £67 million or thereabouts. The fact that the extra 13 to 14 million pounds already would definitely help. We'll be in a better league position than last year, hopefully. Last year, if you saw the numbers, we did actually declare a small loss of around 15 to 16 million pounds. That pretty much was all in part to our league position. On a league position, it's around 2.5 million pounds per league position, and we were about 7 places lower than we were the previous season, which equates to roughly around 15 to 16 million pounds. So that's almost like a direct reason why. Hopefully this season, only that, we'll have the Declan Rice profit money as well, which will go into profit line. Plus we have the Europa League money, and we need it. And we need it, as we know. There's a massive rebuild job happening, or will need to happen under Tim Steindl and the head coach, whoever he may be. So, yeah, it's not. We're not in such a precarious position that I think a lot of the other sides are, and we'll be looking after those looking over their shoulders particularly. But let me know what you think. Obviously, there's lots of facts and figures that are coming around, but I think last year, if I remember correctly, let me try and look for the Europa Cup. Obviously, the big money's in the Champions League, as we know, but the Europa League. The Europa Conference League. Thank God next year it's just going to be called the Conference League, which is a lot better. Prize money. I think, if I remember correctly, we've already surpassed what we would have earned if we won it last year. What we won last year, if I remember correctly. Something like that. I can't remember exactly. But you can see the gap. There's a big gap already, and there's even more of a bigger gap from the Europa League to the Champions League, particularly with the new, as I said, 36 league team. 36 team league coming up. So we'll see what happens. We've got some great interviews coming up next few days. Make sure you keep an eye on the channel. Please subscribe and all that good stuff, because we've got some really, really fucking good interviews coming up. We have got some celebrity hammers, so to speak. We've got a few of them coming up in the next week or so. We've also got probably Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. We have got one of my Hammers 11. I've been fortunate enough to interview already. I think it's 4 of my Hammers 11, of my own Hammers 11. And so, I've interviewed Joe Cole, interviewed Sebastian Schemmel, Joe Cole, Sebastian Schemmel, Trevor Sinclair. Who else have I interviewed in that for? Joe Cole, Sebastian Schemmel. It might be, is it only 3? Anyway, we're adding to my sticker album, so we'll be adding another one of my and Julian Dix. Sorry, Julian. So Julian Dix, Sebastian Schemmel, Joe Cole, Trevor Sinclair, and now I'm adding a 5th. It's, the 5th one is going to be on early next week, so keep an eye on the channel. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a good one. Until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you bloody irons. On it like Sonic. See you later, Robbie Slater. It's not Robbie Slater, by the way. He's not. We've already had him on. It's not Robbie Slater we're interviewing next week.